I'll start with the appointment of auditors in Nigeria, and we're looking at every company during their AGM appoints an auditor or auditors. So it's either a joint audit or a one-firm audit. But most big parastatals engage double audits or double audit firms, joint auditors, to audit their financial statements of the company and to hold office from the exclusion of that until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. So at any general meeting, a retiring auditor, however appointed, shall be reappointed without any resolution being passed unless he is not qualified for reappointment. So based on these laws, section 401 of CAMA, a retiring auditor, somebody that has audited that company, or a firm that has audited that company for a while, can be reappointed except if he decides not to, based on one, he's not qualified for reappointment, maybe he has not renewed his license or something transpired. Number two, a special resolution has been passed at the AGM appointing someone else and not that same auditor, instead of him providing expressly that he shall not be reappointed. So that's another reason why an auditor may not be appointed or reappointed. Another reason is he has given the company notice in writing of his unwillingness to be reappointed. This is willingly now, provided that where notice is given of an intended resolution to appoint some persons or persons in his place, or a retiring auditor, and by reason of death. So any of these reasons could be why an auditor may not be reappointed. Also, death or incapacity or disqualification for any reason of that person can be a reason for his non-reappointment or not being reappointed, as the case may be. The resolution cannot be proceeded with except the auditor automatically is not reappointed. So this special resolution gets the consent of the auditor that is not continuing as their auditor. So automatically he is not reappointed for the office. Where at the AGM, auditors are appointed or reappointed, the directors may appoint a person to fill the capacity. So where there are deliberations and the shareholders have not decided, if at that AGM they didn't decide, in the new financial year, the company cannot go without external auditors or auditors. The directors have the power to appoint in the interim before another AGM is set. Now, the company shall, within 1 week of the power of the directors becoming exercisable, give notice of the fact to the commission. And if the company fails to give the notice as required, the company shall, the company and every officer of the company who is a director in default shall pay a fine to the commission, the Security and Exchange Commission. So this is an offense where an auditor is not appointed or the space is left blank. Maybe because the AGM, the directors or the shareholders did not come up with the appointment of an auditor. It's a crime based on the CAMA, and the Security and Exchange Commission will file the directors. So for no reason should a company not go without external auditors. So where the shareholders they did not appoint an auditor, the directors have the responsibility to do that in the interim. So subject to the provision of CAMA, the first auditors of a company may be appointed by the directors at any time before the company is entitled to commence business. And the auditors so appointed shall hold office until the conclusion of the next AGM, provided that the company may not at any general meeting remove such auditors and appoint another one in their place. You will notice that it's important that auditors are always there to provide oversight and checks throughout the financial year, so there shouldn't be any gap in this situation. And where at the AGM, like I said earlier, they removed the shareholders remove the former auditors and have not appointed the directors, it's their responsibility to nominate and appoint an auditor immediately. So the nomination has been given to members of the company at least within 14 days before the date of the AGM. This is very important. And if the directors fail to exercise their powers under this subsection, under section 401, the company may in the general meeting convey that for a purpose. So maybe an extraordinary general meeting should be convened to appoint the first auditors, and thereupon the said powers of the directors would cease. And the director may fill any casual vacancy of the office of auditor, but while any vacancy continues, the surviving or continuing auditor, if any, may act as the auditor. So where his tenure as auditor has expired for reappointment, he can stay till an auditor is provided, which is very important in the KAMA law. And this would help facilitate that no gap is breached and no law is contravened, to ensure that auditors are there to provide oversight and their services on the financial reporting framework of the company. So in principle, the remuneration of the auditor is set by whoever appoints him, whether the shareholders or the directors. However, in practice, the shareholders make the appointment. It is usual to delegate to the board of directors the power to set the auditor's remuneration. So on the board, there are specialists like the remuneration committee that is set up on most boards to oversee the remuneration or payment of the audit fee or setting of the audit fee for the external auditors. The directors are likely to be more familiar than the shareholders with the nature and scope of work involved in the audit process, and so the appropriate level of fees for that work is determined by the board. So the board of directors may delegate or recommend a committee. So the audit committee could also work on the fee, or we have the remuneration committee. Any of these two committees can serve to work on the fee of the auditor. All right, so that's a brief chat on the appointments of auditors in Nigeria. Let's speak to a case scenario that resonates graphically with this. A local case. Oh, okay. All right. Before we speak to the scenario, Julie raised her hands. Please go ahead.
Yeah, you said the board of directors, they come together to deliberate on the remuneration for the auditor.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, please.
But the auditor will be present. He will tell them what his fee is, isn't it?
Yes, he'll tell them what his fee is, but then in practice, like if you look at this other slide, in practice, actually the shareholders may not have the knowledge of the price, so they will delegate that to the director since they know the scope of work and what they do in the audit process. So the directors are more likely to set the remuneration, and that is why an audit committee or a remuneration committee is set up for that. So hardly do shareholders agree on the fee during the AGM, so that they don't pay higher or pay lesser. Yes.
Okay, then another thing you made mention, was it last week, about the person to fire the auditor? You said, is it the shareholders? Yes.
Yes, so the shareholders have the power to fire the auditor and not the directors. Now, the directors don't have the power because the auditor may be flagging something against the directors. So it's only the shareholders who are the owners of the company that can fire the auditor.
Okay, so the directors cannot change the auditors, only the shareholders.
Only the shareholders, yes, except in the situation where, go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead.
And you said the directors are the ones that negotiate the remuneration for the auditors. So who choose the auditors? Is it the shareholders that choose the auditors or the directors?
Yeah, so the shareholders choose the auditors, but in situation whereby maybe at the AGM they skip it, the directors can choose so that they will not be fined by the SEC, the regulators. Yes.
It's okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I saw Timothy's hand. Please go ahead, Timothy.
I don't know if I'm the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, I said I don't know if I'm the only one, but I can't see your slide.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's your network then. Julie, can you see my slide, please?
Yes, I can see it. Maybe you should go out and come back in again. You see it.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Yes.
Just go out and come back in.
Yes, I suggest that. Rufi, you're welcome. I can see Rufi has joined the call. Rufi, can you see my slides, please? Rufi, you are
Yes, I
muted.
can. Good evening. Good evening, sir.
All
Good
right.
evening, everyone. I can
You're
see your
welcome.
screen.
Rufi, how are you?
Hi, Julie. I'm fine.
Hold on.
How was your day?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, guys. Welcome, and that will be the end of appointment of the audit. Appointment of auditors in Nigeria will be very fast, and we'll just pick the main points before we get to the case scenario. So let me stop and ask Timothy, can you see the screen now, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Great. All right. So speaking about a case scenario, I want to practically buttress one very short case, a local one and a global one. Now, in 2019, Deloitte and PwC were appointed as Owando's auditors. So it was a joint audit. Two big firm or big four auditors, Deloitte and PwC. Normally it's Akitola Williams, Deloitte, and PwC. Were the auditors of Owando. They faced scrutiny by SEC due to audit irregularity. So the Security and Exchange Commission investigated the company, which led to the suspension of Owando's CEO and key board members, citing issues related to auditors' appointment process, the processes surrounding appointment and financial misstatements. So the key issue was Owando's external auditors, Deloitte and PwC, were questioned over their compliance with auditor independence requirements stipulated in CAMA 2020 section 401, like we just saw. Now, the regulatory action that the Security and Exchange Commission directed Owando was to appoint new auditors after concerns arose about audit quality and the conflict of interest. So this case resonates with the fact that there has to be independence and prevention of conflict of interest. So CAMA 2020 recommends periodic auditor rotation. And now SEC, as a regulatory oversight provider, enforced actions underscoring the importance of strict adherence to appointment procedures. So it's a very serious issue, and the regulators don't take it lightly. And the impact on the public interest with this case you saw, or I just spoke about, is it reinforces the role of auditors in ensuring transparency and investor confidence through proper auditor selection and reappointment. This is very important. Now, also a global case, aside that local case, was one with Wirecard AG and EY, Ernst & Young. That happened in Germany in the year 2020. I think that was one of the biggest corporate fraud cases in Europe. This is the Wirecard scandal as a result of appointment and reappointment and auditors staying too long. Wirecard was a German fintech. It collapsed in 2020, revealing that about 1.9 billion euros was missing from its financial statement. EY, the company's auditor over a decade, that's about 10 years, failed to uncover fraudulent activities despite repeated red flags. So the key issue was the German financial regulator, BaFin, found that EY did not perform sufficient audit procedures, questioning why Wirecard's long-term auditor was not rotated or reappointed. So you can see appointment and reappointment is very important, especially with the time, the tenure renewal. So Germany, some of the reforms the regulators introduced was stricter audit rotation laws to limit consecutive years of auditing a single client and to mitigate against the risk of familiarity and intimidation. When a client gets his substantial fees from a particular client, to be hard to point out some things due to familiarity threat. So the European Union implemented reforms due to this very huge scandal and collapse, requiring mandatory audit firm rotation every 10 years to enhance independence. So the mandatory rotation of auditors will help mitigate this long-term engagement that can create complacency and conflict of interest, and can also reduce audit quality. The regulatory oversight body, BaFin, in Germany, instituted reforms reflecting the importance of legal structures, like we have in Nigeria, the CAMA, to ensure independence in auditor appointments. And the Wirecard case also states why regulatory authorities must enforce strict appointment guidelines to protect investors and the public interest. So key takeaways briefly on these two cases. In Nigeria, you see that strict adherence to CAMA, the CAMA 2020 and global best practices ensures auditors' independence. Very important. Globally also, we saw, as it happened with Wirecard, the mandatory rotation, regulatory oversight and transparency are critical to maintaining audit quality. So the risk of a weak auditor appointment practice and the need to robustly regulate the audit space. We saw that practically in the case of Wando and Wirecard, which is very, very important. Okay, so having spoken to those two cases, now let's take a quick quiz, and I want us to really engage from what we've discussed in this section. Number one, when shall a company appoint an auditor to audit its financial statements? A, at the first board meeting of the year. B, at each annual general meeting. C, at the request of the directors. D, before the financial statements are prepared.
What should we post? Should we just say the answer, or what should we do?
Well, anyone, maybe you write it down, just write it down then.
On the chat, or?
Okay, if you have a note or a pen, just write it down.
Okay, on the pen. Okay, all right. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So just take note of it so that we'll discuss it after that. All right. So let me take the question again. When shall a company appoint an auditor to audit its financial statements? A, at the first board meeting of the year. B, at each annual general meeting. C, at the request of directors. D, before the financial statements are prepared. Since we want it engaging, instead of writing, let's choose now. What do you think is the answer, Julie? There are three on the call, so let's do D, before the financial statements are prepared. Okay, Julie went with D. Timothy, what do you go with?
So actually, I'm torn between A and B. So, but I think I should go for A.
So you do elimination method now. So you eliminate one out of this.
So let me go for A.
Okay, at the first board meeting of the year. Okay, so Julie went for D, Timothy A. All right. Rufi, what are you going for? What's Rufi's option? B. Okay. All right. So let's take note of that, the options, and we'll see who gets it at the end. Okay, so number 2.
Sorry, sir.
Yes,
Can
please.
I ask
Yes,
a
please.
question? Can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Yes,
I
please.
said is there any universally acceptable number of years that an auditor can use in an organization, or every country has theirs?
Fantastic question. So your second suggestion resonates more. So every country has theirs. Now, based on scandals, if you notice what happened between Soludo's CBN tenure and Sanusi, now pre-Sanusi's era, when Soludo was handing over after his time, Sanusi came up and cut it down from 10 years to 5 years. So it depends on the country. Currently, Nigeria is 5 years. In the EU or Europe, it's 10 years. So your answer is correct, or your second suggestion. It depends on the country specific. Some countries go for 5 years, some go for 10 years. So it depends on the country. That's the answer.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, so let's look at number 2. Which of the following is not a valid reason for a retiring auditor not to be reappointed? A, the auditor is not qualified for reappointment. B, a special resolution has been passed appointing another auditor. C, the directors decide to appoint a new auditor. D, the director has given notice of unwillingness to be reappointed. Which of the following is not a valid reason for a retiring auditor not to be reappointed? What's our pick?
The question is very tricky.
Yes, very,
It's
very.
not a valid reason.
Yes, so if you follow
Not
this discussion and the slides, you should get this answer. So what's your pick? Timothy, Rufi, what's your pick? I think Julie is thinking, do you need, what's that from?
The statement of not and not. It's so confusing.
Okay.
When the statement is not direct, it's so confusing for me.
Exactly. It's not direct. You go for what?
I'll go for D.
Okay, Rufi goes for D. The auditor has given notice of unwillingness to be reappointed. It's not a valid reason. Take note.
I think I'll go for D too. It's not.
Okay, the auditor has given notice of unwillingness. All right, Timothy, we have 2 Ds.
Wait, okay, let me think again. Which of it is not a valid reason?
Torn between B and
You want to change
now.
your mind? Okay, you're torn between C and D.
now.
Okay.
B and C.
B and C. Okay, so make your pick now. Elimination method. You know, this one we don't have 2 options like Frank and Doho, so you have to eliminate yourself.
I think I'll go for C.
Julie has changed her mind. Okay, Julie C.
I'll go for C.
Rufi D. Rufi, are you staying with D? Rufi, are you staying with D?
Yes.
Okay, so Rufi is staying on her D. So we have 2 C's and 1 D. Fantastic. All right, number 3. If no auditor is appointed or reappointed at the AGM, who has the power to appoint one? This one is simple now. Let me go again. If no auditor is appointed or reappointed at the annual general meeting, who has the power to appoint one?
I'm going with D.
Exactly.
B.
Okay,
B.
Everybody B. Rufi, do you agree?
The shareholders. A.
Okay, so Rufi A, then, so let me read the question again. If no auditor is appointed or reappointed at the AGM, who has the power to appoint one? The shareholders, the board of directors, the audit committee, the commission.
The audit.
The audit?
The audit committee.
Okay, so Timothy went for B, Julie went for B, Rufi went for C. All right, so let's go number 4. What is the penalty for failing to notify the commission when directors exercise their power to appoint an auditor? A fine as specified by the commission. B, suspension of the board of directors. C, a public warning from the commission. D, the commission's license is revoked. What is the penalty for failing to notify the commission? Okay, so Julie A, Timothy B, A. Rufi, what do you pick?
Is fine, definitely. Yeah. Fine.
A, okay, so everybody, AAA. This is AAA, correct? AAA. All right, finally, who typically determines the remuneration of an auditor appointed by the shareholders? A, the shareholders. B, the audit committee. C, the board of directors. D, the external auditors themselves. Who typically determines the remuneration of the auditor appointed by the shareholders?
C.
The board of directors, Julie. C, okay. Who is going for the next? Timothy, what's your pick? Who typically determines the remuneration of an auditor?
Was actually C and B.
Okay, so eliminate and pick one.
C.
Okay, Timothy C. All right, Rufi.
C.
Okay, so Julie, what did you pick? A, right?
C. No, C.
Oh, okay. We have triple C. Everybody is C. All right, it's fine. So 1 to 5 done. Okay, so let's look at our answers. So number 1, when shall a company appoint an auditor to audit its financial statement? Who said B? B is the correct answer.
Really? Okay.
So the explanation is that Section 401 of CAMA state that every company shall appoint an auditor at each AGM to audit its financial statement until the completion of the next AGM. So the answer is B. So who got this one? Somebody said B or nobody said B.
It's me.
It's Rufi that said B,
Hey.
right? Fantastic. So yeah, so mark yourself correct. So the
that's
reason
when the auditor is appointed during the general meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
So the wise A is wrong because at the first board meeting, the appointment is made at the AGM, not the first board meeting. So take note. C is wrong because at the request of the directors do not have the primary power except where the shareholders did not appoint a head. They can now, and Ms. Luke is saying except in cases of a vacancy. And D is not correct. Before the financial statements are prepared, auditors are appointed at the AGM and work on financial statements afterward. So B is the correct answer. So congratulations, Rufi. Nice one. Okay, so number 2, which of the following is not a valid reason for a retiring auditor not to be appointed? So this one is tricky, and the answer is C. The directors decide to appoint a new auditor. So who got this?
I got C.
I did.
You just C.
I did.
I got C.
Okay. Good. So Julia and Timothy got this one correct. Only Rufi. Rufi, what did you choose?
I didn't get this one. No.
What did you choose? You chose a different option. Can't remember. That is why I said you should write it down. Anyway, A is wrong because
I chose D.
Okay, you chose D. Yes, the notice of unwillingness to be appointed. Yes, I remembered. Okay, so A is wrong because the auditor is not qualified for reappointment. If the auditor no longer meets qualification criteria for any reason, they cannot be reappointed. So this is wrong. While B, a special resolution has been passed appointing an auditor. Shareholders can pass a resolution to appoint a new auditor instead of. So this is wrong. The auditor has given notice of willingness to be reappointed. If the auditor does not wish to continue, they must notify the company in writing. This is wrong. So the directors decide to appoint a new auditor is the valid reason. So directors cannot unilaterally decide because they don't have the power. Like Julie asked that can directors remove an auditor? I said no, because a retiring auditor is automatically reappointed unless one of the valid reasons stated in CAMA applies. All right. So good option, Julie. Okay, so number 3, if no auditor is appointed or reappointment at the AGM, who has the power to appoint one? I think everybody picked B.
B, yes.
Everybody picked B, right?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, somebody picked shareholders, or somebody said the shareholders. I know 2 people picked B, 1 person picked. Rufi, what was your answer? Timothy, what was your answer in this number 3?
I chose audit committee.
Mine was B.
Okay, yours was B. Okay, yes. I think you and Julie picked the right answer. Then Rufi picked audit committee. Okay. So audit committee may recommend auditor but does not have the power to appoint. The shareholders appoint auditors at the AGM, but if they fail to do so, the board of directors, this one is clearly in the discussion we had. So the SEC, or the CAC cannot do that. So the correct answer is B. All right, number 4. What is the penalty for failing to notify commission when directors, blah, blah, blah? Okay, so everybody said AAA. Yes, so we all got it. So B, C, and D are wrong. Everybody got this one. Okay, and finally, who typically determines the remuneration of the appointment of auditors? Only one person said C.
I said C.
Yeah, I think
Timothy, we talked about it. We talked about it during the lecture.
Yes, during the lecture we talked about it. I think Timothy was torn between B and C, so he picked C. Timothy, you picked C, right? Timothy, are you there? I can't hear you.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I picked C2.
You pick seats. Okay. So, Rufi, what did you pick here?
I picked I picked board of directors.
No, you picked shareholders. It was shareholders. You said. I remember the last question.
Eh.
Yes, you said
Okay.
nomination was determined by shareholders. All right. So, okay. So, in the next quiz, please, you guys will be writing down your answer so that you'll be marking it as we go through it. So, we'll know how many we scored. It's a good way to remember.
Yeah.
You said, what did you score, Julie? So Timothy, what did you score? That's 80%. I like that. Timothy, what did you score?
Yeah, I scored 4/5.
Okay, 80%. Rufi did not write down. I'm not sure she wrote down her marks. So in the next session, please write down your marks. Let's know your progress chart. Yes, please.
The audit committee, I believe we are coming into a session where we will do more of the assignment of the audit committee, because the audit committee, I don't know why many of the times it feels like I'm confused with the responsibility of the audit committee.
Okay, so we're coming to that. There is a specific section.
Can you just give us a debrief on it? Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay, so let's not take much time so that we can focus. When we come to audit committee, I will take note of that and we'll speak so much on the audit committee, on their special responsibilities.
All right, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's run. Before we go on our short break, let's look at the removal of auditors in Nigeria, section 409, 2020. So, removal of auditors. As seen in the appointment, in certain circumstances, directors are empowered to appoint auditors. However, it will not be appropriate for the directors to remove the auditors. They don't have that power to remove the auditors from office. Like Julie asked the question, and this is in the removal of auditors, the directors don't have the power. They can appoint where the shareholders forget or under certain circumstances didn't appoint, but they cannot remove. And this is the reason. So it will be inappropriate for the directors to have the power to remove auditors because there may be a disagreement between the directors and the auditors about an item in the financial statements or about the conduct of the audit. So maybe there's an irregularity and the directors could use that power to silence auditors by dismissing them. And that's why it's appropriate not to give them that power. And section 409 of the CAMA 2020 did not give directors the power to remove auditors. So clearly it would be more appropriate for the directors to recommend the appointment of new auditors to the shareholders and for the shareholders to decide, the owners of the company. So the directors only have the power to recommend, but they cannot remove. If the auditors resign from office, they are required to also give reasons. Maybe they were threatened because of their findings, and the shareholders notify the authorities of their removal. So the auditors may resign, but they must state the reason to the shareholders and notify authorities, the CAC, the SEC, of their removal or resignation. In Nigeria, it is the ordinary shareholders who are able to dismiss the auditors by passing an ordinary resolution with special notice at their AGM. So it's only the shareholders that have that power. Take note of that. Very important. And it's at the AGM with a special resolution to do that the shareholders can do that. When they pass a resolution to remove the auditors, the company will issue within 14 days, 2 weeks, a notice of the fact that in the prescribed form to the commission, that's the SEC. And if the company fails to give this notice, the company and every officer, the directors, are liable to a penalty. If they don't give this 7 days or 14 days notice, they are liable to a penalty by the SEC and shall specify in its regulations this same penalty. So take note of that. And the removal is very, very seamless, and it must follow these procedures. Very important. So take note of that. So before we go to our quiz, If I remember a case very vividly between EcoBank and Akintola Williams, that's the same Deloitte, AWD and EcoBank. That was in 2019. EcoBank removed Akintola Williams as its external auditors due to disagreements over audit findings. What was the key issue? Deloitte reportedly raised issues or concerns over financial reporting irregularities, particularly it has to do with loan classification and provision in line with IFRS 9, expected credit loss, and the performing loan, non-performing loan, those issues. Now, what was the regulatory compliance? In line with Section 409 of CAMA, shareholders passed an ordinary resolution at the AGM to replace Deloitte with another audit firm. So you see, the shareholders had the powers and they removed Deloitte. So the directors may recommend that they should do that because of their findings and maybe it didn't resonate with the shareholders. And this shows the importance of transparency. The bank was required to notify SEC and CAC within 14 days of the change of Deloitte to ensure proper disclosure and compliance. Now, the avoidance of management influence, the power of the removal of auditors rests with the shareholders, take note, and not directors, to prevent conflict of interest. So you may see a case scenario in maybe the case study or the first question on the removal of auditors. So take note of these peculiar. Okay, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me now? Just some little glitch in network. Can we hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. All right. The avoidance of management influence and also regulatory notification, companies must follow due process and inform regulators of this change or removal or dismissal to ensure and uphold transparency. So that's between EcoBank and AWD, Deloitte. Now, another global case you look at between Tesco and PwC in the United Kingdom in 2014. This case, Tesco was a UK retail giant. In 2014, there was an accounting scandal of about £263 million profit overstatement on their financial statement. PwC had audited them for long. They were their long-standing external auditors. They were removed by shareholders following the concerns around audit quality. What was the key issue? PwC was accused of failing to detect accounting irregularity, leading to erosion of shareholder value and also their confidence. So imagine £263 million overstatement of profit or revenue in their financial statement. What was the regulatory action? Tesco's shareholders removed PwC and they appointed Deloitte. So the UK Financial Reporting Council investigated PwC, and one of the key highlights was auditor independence. And the impact on best practices is that there should be mandatory rotation and also removal where necessary. Shareholders may intervene, or their intervention in this case was critical to restoring public trust. One of the best practice impact is also to strengthen oversight. The UK adopted stricter regulations, audit regulations, to enhance transparency in auditor appointments and removals. So what are the key takeaways? So like the regulatory framework, the CAMA 2020 and UK Financial Reporting Council rules protect auditors from unfair dismissal by directors or management, while shareholder-driven removals of auditors promotes independence, accountability, and audit quality must follow due processes and the announcement of the 14-day special notice to the SEC. And this case of EcoBank and Tesco shows the need for regulatory oversight in the audit space to ensure fairness, transparency, and in audit removals. This is very important, so take note of this. Okay, so let's move to our quiz quickly. Number one, who has the power to remove auditors from office in Nigeria? A, the board of directors. B, the chief financial officer. C, the ordinary shareholders. D, the audit committee.
C.
Okay, one pick. Write down your answer so that when we come to the solution, we'll know what you picked. So you wrote C. All right. Julie?
Who has the power to remove an auditor from the office in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay, C.
Okay, we have two C's. Rufi? And T. Rufi, what's your answer? Are you still thinking?
She's sleeping.
Uh-oh. Rufi, are you there?
Because I slept a bit until I heard the questions coming.
Uh-oh. Sorry. All right.
I don't know when
Rufi.
sleep just came off.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I see.
She's not sleeping. Okay.
Hmm?
So we have triple C's, 3 C's. Okay. So please write it down, right, so that you'll not sleep. Next, why is it inappropriate for directors to have the power to remove auditors? Number A, directors may lack the technical expertise to evaluate auditors. B, directors could dismiss auditors to silence disagreements. C, auditors are appointed for life and cannot be removed. D, auditors must always agree with the director's decision. So why is it inappropriate for directors to have power to remove auditors?
B.
Triple B's. Okay. It's like we are really gaining understanding of the subject. All right, B, triple B. So let's go. What must auditors do if they resign from office? A, seek approval from the directors before resigning. B, remain silent about their reason for resigning. C, provide reasons to shareholders and notify authorities. D, automatically appoint their successor before leaving. Number 3, what must auditors do if they resign from office? Okay, so I had somebody say C. Who said C?
Timothy.
Okay, Timothy speaks C. All right. Who is saying A?
Wait.
Julie said A. Fast finger. All right. So somebody has picked C. Julie, maybe it was the time you doze off we're talking about this, so be careful with dozing off. Okay, you picked C too. All right, Rufi, what's your pick? What must auditors do if they resign from office?
Is C.
Wow, everybody is C too. Okay,
C or
let's
A?
see. Huh?
C.
C or A? You know, I'm not like Frank Edo that will say, are you sure? Final answer. Final answer.
50-50 or call a friend.
50-50 or call a friend. So this one, there's no 50-50. You have to pick one. Or eliminate A or C. Final answer.
Final answer, both.
No. Under exam condition, is a no. So you must eliminate one. So pick one. You can't choose two. I should pick for you. I'll pick A for you. Huh?
No, I'll go for.
You go for what?
Letter C.
Okay, you go for C. All right. Okay. So let's agree with C. Fantastic. So triple C's. And number 4, what type of resolution must be passed to remove an auditor in Nigeria? Number 1, special resolution. B, ordinary resolution with special notice. C, unanimous resolution. D, board resolution. What type of resolution must be passed to remove an auditor in Nigeria? What do you go for? What are you going for?
D.
Okay, so Timothy, let me hear you.
D, Timothy, D.
D, okay. Rufi, before I hear Julie. Okay, let me go for Julie. Rufi is still thinking.
4 is C. Sorry, 4 is C.
Okay, unanimous resolution. All right, Rufi. D, C. Rufi, what's yours? But do you want to phone a friend, Rufi? You cannot phone a friend. You have to do it yourself.
I'll go for B.
Okay, ordinary resolution. You go for B, ordinary resolution with special notice. Is that your pick?
Yes.
Okay, so we have B, we have D, C, B. Okay, I'll take note of that. Finally, how soon must a company notify the commission after an auditor is removed? A, 7 days. B, 14 days. C, 21 days. D, 30 days.
B, Timothy, B.
All right, B, Timothy, B. Julie?
I think A. I'm not sure anyway, so.
You have to be sure. Please be sure. To some
Because
extent.
I don't know it.
Okay, let's pick A for you then. Oh, who said C? I remember I said that it was clearly in the text. Maybe that was when she
Timothy
knows.
said B.
Timothy said B, so I'll pick A for Julie. She's not sure, but she said A. So, Rufi, what do you pick?
I will choose D.
D, 30 days. Both of you are sleeping. It is well. Okay, so let's move. All right, let's move. So, number one, so you mark yourselves now. Who has the power to remove auditors from office in Nigeria? The answer is C. Everybody got it.
C.
Everybody got this C. According to section 409 of CAMA, only the shareholders, not the directors, can remove auditors by passing an ordinary resolution with special notice at the AGM. So everybody got this as C. I like that. So number two.
I already see that failed one now.
How did you know? And we have not reached the answer now. Have you seen the answers already?
Ordinary resolution with
Number 2, B. Okay.
Number 2 is B. So directors could dismiss auditors. So everybody got this. I had triple Bs. So no need to check the options. That is wrong. Why must auditors do if they resign? So I think 2 people, we had differing opinions. Julie, what did you pick here? You picked C.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So if auditors resign, they must inform shareholders of the reason and also notify the appropriate regulatory authorities to ensure transparency and compliance. So what did Timothy pick here?
I picked C.
Oh, good. You got it. Rufi, what did you pick? What was your pick, Rufi?
C.
Oh, everybody got it. Triple C is fantastic. Okay, so this is where the problem was. Number 4, what type of resolution must be passed to remove an auditor in Nigeria? The answer is B, ordinary. So those that said D and C, somebody said D and C. Yes, so
ordinary, what resolution must pass to remove ordinary resolution? Okay.
Yeah, so
what's that special notice?
So the special notice is that once the special notice is for the 14 days to remove the auditor. So the resolution will be done in a special meeting by the directors. Then they will pass a notice of 14 days to the SEC to remove the auditor. So that's it. So it's not board resolution. It's incorrect before the board of directors do not have the authority to remove. And it's not unanimous because all shareholders need to agree. Only a simple majority, which is ordinary resolution, is needed. So C and D that we picked is wrong. I think Timothy got it only. So the answer is B.
Oh, I failed it too.
Timothy failed it. Now who got this one? Somebody got this one now.
It was Madam Rufiat.
Oh, okay. Rufiat got it. Congratulations, Rufi. Nice one. Okay, so finally, how soon must the company notify?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, so this one I was expecting everybody to get it because it was clear on the screen. Sorry, Rufiat, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
The mistake. I wanted to clap.
You wanted to clap? Oh, okay. I saw you raised your hand. I thought you wanted to interject and say something. Okay, so how soon must the company notify the commission after an auditor is removed? So the answer is B. It was clear in the lectures, but I'm sure that was when you guys dozed off. After the special resolution is passed within 14 days. Yes.
Okay.
So an auditor must, if he's once he's removed, the company will notify CAC within 14 days using the prescribed form. So it's not 21, it's not 30. Think somebody, okay, it's Julie that picked 7. She guessed 7A. So it's not 7,
yes.
it's not 30, yes. So
So-
it's 14 days. So what did Timothy get? 4/5 this time around?
Yes, sir. 4/5.
I got 3/5.
60%, 80%. Rufi, what did you get? 4/5 or 5/5? No, she didn't catch. She can't get 5/5 because she chose 30 days. So Rufi, I guess you got
4/5.
4/5. Okay, all right. That's nice. 60%, 80%. Good tries. At least we remember most of this. Okay, so can we go on a short break? Now